Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jupiter's Bible Study. I was listening to a sermon and I was just totally moved by it because I do struggle with anxiety, specifically social anxiety. So that stops me from, I believe, going out and telling people about God and the Word and telling them about the good news. And I feel guilty about that because I with the personality that I have, which it's like I've forgotten about that personality. Like it barely comes out. I don't know if it was good or it was bad but I felt like with the personality that I had or have, that I could do a podcast but I don't want to do a podcast and get with the wrong type of people that are going to pull me from the Word of God and pull me from Jesus Christ and just God in general. Like, I don't want to join anything that's going to keep me from advancing in the Word and understanding it and applying it to my life. And I realized after watching this sermon that helping others come to Christ, because that's important too. I have my struggles. I've been going through spiritual warfare, literally. And what is spiritual warfare? It's the mind, it's the thoughts, and it's not my thoughts, but then it's who thoughts are there? What I'm trying to differentiate between what thoughts are mine and then what thoughts are put there. And I just pray for it all because I can't tell the difference. And it's not all day. It's just, when you, for me, I'm not going to say when you, I am introverted and I have social anxiety. So when I do interact with people or I walk by people, I'm not saying that, it does start, the spiritual warfare starts, the thoughts, it happens sometimes. But when I'm alone and when I am confused and I am troubled and I am just my mind is, just trying to figure out what's happening, because I've never been through this before. This sort of spiritual warfare, I don't think I was really understanding what spiritual warfare was. And then now that I'm in it, I'm just fighting the good fight. I pray, I read my Bible, and I try to turn on things that are going to help me. Not just things that will entertain me and keep my mind off of it, because my mind is never off of it because it's still happening. It happens every day. And maybe I've been awakened in some sort of way, but I would really appreciate your prayers and pray that I can find the strength to get past my social anxiety to help people with the Word, whether I meet them and I'm positive and I pray with them and I pray to God and pray for me for strength to, if I do get into difficult conversations about the faith, people rejecting it and having their standpoint and what they've been through in the church, I pray that I combat it with compassion and love. The sermon that I was listening to, it talked about the heart. And I'm not in a relationship right now. I love my family and I love God, but I'm still figuring out what that is, if that makes sense. And I'm not 20 something, right? I should know what love is, but it's loving myself. I'm still figuring that out, how to love myself and how to do what I need to do for myself that's good, and not operate in a way where it's autopilot and I'm not paying attention to myself and I'm not paying attention to the things that I need that will encourage me, that are good for me, And I watched a movie or two, or a movie and a half. I watched a few episodes of a show and another show on Netflix, and I thought that would do the trick. Not do the trick, but it's like I'm thinking, okay, can I incorporate that into my life? And I don't know if I can. Like, maybe sometimes, but the majority has to be spent in the word, praying. And I feel like if I put more of the word in me, like I just read every day and I put more of that word in me, that when I sleep, my dreams aren't weird, and that I can grow closer to God. And I've been asking God to send his angel, or however many angels he could send, to just watch over me and guide me. You know, there are things that I used to do, a habit that I had that would elevate my mind. It would make me feel better. And with everything that I went through, it's like, I don't know if I can incorporate that to at least, combat my anxiety or social anxiety. I have anxiety just overall, but I don't want to say that and make it, like when you say, oh, I'm depressed or I have anxiety, you're feeding that by saying it. And so I don't want to feed it, but I do want to bring it to light because, when I drive, sometimes I have these moments where my anxiety takes over and I got to get over to the right and I just feel scared. And I want a podcast. And there's, yes, I'm doing this audio, but I want to be able to get in front of the camera and to convey, and talk about things, spiritually centered, but also there are other things going on in the world, right? And so I would like to bring comfort to those, do my research, talk about it a bit, and get the conversation going in the comments. But it's like, I had a thought like, well, maybe me uploading on this channel, maybe that is my way of trying to reach someone if they listen to this, and, bring them to Christ, bring them to the word, and bring them to Jesus Christ. And, maybe they will decide to get baptized or go to church just by listening to this. Maybe it nudges them to go really find those individuals that are more experienced than me, because I'm just one person. And last night was like, when you feel discouraged and when you feel like when you're going through your own personal stuff, because there's things that I wouldn't want to say on here to scare anyone. And I know it's my journey, it's my battle. But, the devil plays on your confusion. The devil plays on your discouragement and your low self-esteem and your anxiety and your depression. He plays on all those things. Because when I'm feeling just really, really just spun, that's when, just those thoughts come in. And I just pray to God that he continues to help and bless me. And, the sermon I was listening to, it was talking about, we ask for things, what we want. And it's like, I do find myself like I was praying for a job very heavily, but then I was like, I've been praying for the world more. And then I just remembered the other day, like, I haven't even been praying for a job, because I feel like, what am I contributing to society? It gets to that worldview. Like, what am I contributing to society if I don't have a job? What can I say to people who have jobs? Why would they care about anything that I say? And I'm being vulnerable right now because I don't want this to be cookie cutter. I don't want it to be so organized that like the message is missed. And, it's like maybe me and that thought, it correlates with being like worthy. How am I worthy if I'm not out there not preaching, because I'm not a preacher, but talking about the good news with like an unbeliever or someone that is has turned from the faith, or someone who is lukewarm in the middle. And so, maybe God gave me these words to give to you. And maybe even if it's just one person that listens to this, because I don't think that everyone listens all the way through, but maybe one day you let the video run, and maybe it helps you and blesses you. And if it's just one person, it's worth it. I've been trying to come on here and put a video every 2 to 3 days. And the views does not matter. The subscriber count does not matter. If it just helps one person, 2 people, 5 people, 10 people, that's all that matters. And you can actually get to the right people. Like if this leads you to get to someone that's more experienced than me and delivering the word. The sermon I listened to talked about seed, sowing seeds, and how Jesus sows good seeds to bear fruit. And am I bearing fruit right now? I don't know. And then it talked about how the devil sows weeds. Jesus, he sows seeds that bears trees that bear good fruit. Or he sows seeds that grows trees and bears good fruit. And the devil produces weeds. And this sermon, he was talking about how you can't even tell the difference. That evil and good has to, unfortunately, coexist together. And it's like, I know, what they talk about, 2 sides in you, good and bad, and it's what you feed. But bad is there because we are sinners. We sin. Like even I sin. I may not know specifically how, but I do. And you would think like, well, what are you doing? I mean, you don't have a job, so how are you sinning? You're not even out there. I do sin because I am a sinner, and by Jesus Christ, by me saying in Jesus' name, that's the only reason why my prayer gets heard. The only reason that my prayer gets heard is through Jesus Christ, because I am not perfect. And I don't want to be perfect. You know who's perfect? Jesus Christ. And I pray to have the strength, to have the words, to have the wherewithal, to just know what I'm doing and know where I'm going. When I talk to someone that is an unbeliever, when I encounter those that work for the devil, that I know how to be strong and I know how to combat that. I'm not trying to argue. I'm not trying to fall into a trap. I'm just trying to talk about the good news. And hopefully that will be enough. And then I pray that God guides my words. So, that's all. I mean, I just wanted to bring that word to you, and I hope it blesses you, and be blessed and be a blessing.